Hello and welcome to our very first episode. We are very, very excited to be starting this because I think cumulatively we have quite a lot of knowledge
If you
in the
don't say so
publishing
yourself.
space. If I don't say so myself, I mean, I'm piggybacking off of you right now, but and I think a lot of value add for people, especially that are new, I think, to publishing, whether it's indie, traditional, starting to write a book, wanting to market a book. I think we do have a lot of knowledge to share. So this is the beginning of a journey where we get to impart some of that to other people.
Correct. And to everyone listening or watching, please just remember that this is our first time podcasting, and things are obviously a bit up in the air with tech and stuff with Dalport and I because we've never done it before. So please forgive us for anything that doesn't sound perfect to you, but we will try to improve every episode.
Yes, until we perfect.
Perfection.
Flawless is the goal. Okay, so starting out, we thought we would always start with a writing update and a publishing update. So maybe you can kick us off with that.
Okay, so writing wise, I just finished writing my fifth Blair Butler book. That is my steamy romance pen name. It's out, it's got a few good reviews, it seems to be doing quite well, and I'm going to write one more book in that series and then box it up into a six-book set and put that into KU and see how it does. So that's the writing I've been doing. Next week, I'm starting book six.
Six books just seems to be such a winning combination. Hey, it's always six.
Seriously, yeah.
Never five, it's
Yeah.
never four, it's always six.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever go back to a shorter series now.
It's that read through that we bank on.
Hmm.
And why did you, on that whole point of read through, go with 50,000 as opposed to shooting for 100,000 per book?
Because steamy romance is usually a bit on the shorter side,
Okay.
as far as I could tell. I mean, I did some research before I started. And also, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to pull it off, you know. So I've been MVPing it from the beginning. Like, I've changed the covers a few times, I've changed the blurb. Like, I'm just trying to see how it works, if it works. It was working well enough for me to take it from a three-book series to a six-book series. And then, we'll do the box set. And then maybe I'll even write more, depending on how it goes.
Speaking of your covers, you've already changed them.
Three times, dude, three times.
And that is just following publishing trends, right? That is just getting on that wagon of what's selling, how it's selling.
Yeah, I mean, the first ones weren't right. I knew that, but I thought they were good enough for that time. And then I realized, no, you really have to make more of an effort. So I did some object covers too for paperbacks because that's what I heard, that people don't really like reading the man chest covers in public. So they prefer like an object on their cover. So I did that too. And now I'm back to like six packs because it just sells so much better. But I
And
will do
that's why
object
people,
covers for hard covers for like Kickstarter and special editions and things like that.
okay. And when you say objects, like,
Object covers are usually flowers. Then
so would
the
this be like an object cover? Because this is a
That's an
steamy
object cover.
romance.
Yeah.
Okay, but it
Yeah.
doesn't scream steamy romance.
Not to me,
Okay.
no. It looks a bit more like sci-fi dystopian to me, with especially with that hectic
Yeah,
red. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it looks like
But
Hunger
this is like a
Gamesy.
super dark romance, right? That's what it's known for. So when we're reading on the bus, nobody will know.
Yes.
Although I did stumble across a girl on TikTok the other day whose whole business model is making covers that you can slide your book into so nobody ever knows what
Oh,
you're
that's
reading.
brilliant.
Yeah,
And that's
so
why Kindles took one of the reasons Kindles took off in the beginning, I think, because you could read whatever you liked on the tube and no one
yes.
knows. Yeah. Yeah. You look all intelligent reading your smut. Fifty Shades of
Yes.
Grey was a perfect example of an object cover for steamy
Oh,
romance.
the handcuffs.
Handcuffs,
Did it have handcuffs?
it's like a tie on one of them,
Yes.
cufflinks, not handcuffs,
Yes.
cufflinks, I think. Same,
Same thing, friend.
same thing in the smut world.
If I bought my husband either of those things, he'd see it as one invitation. So because I want to be like you when I grow up, I
Mhm.
have also started a steamy
I
romance.
cannot
So
believe that.
I know because I'm such a prude. I'm such a prude.
How are you going to do
Um,
it?
well, listen, I think it's super spicy. People will probably read it and be like, "Oh, sweet,
Oh,
how
sweet.
vanilla of her."
Oh, they kissed. Oh.
I just don't think I'll actually tell anyone that it's me Only because of the kids. I've got teenagers. Can you imagine? They would be horrified.
Yeah. For that reason, a pen name is great because then you'll be able to
Yes.
write freely. Because otherwise, you're going to keep thinking what the PTA is going to think of your books.
Yes, 100%. And then also, I actually wanted to talk about that because I know with you, with Blair Butler, it's no secret that Blair Butler is
Yes.
JT Lawrence,
Yeah.
but it's all about branding. I've always found it so interesting how that worked. When I was first told to do it, I kind of pushed back and I was like, I don't want to have a pseudonym. I want everything to be under my name. And at the time, it was when I was with Tracy McDonald Publishers, and she actually said to me when I wrote The Legacy, I should have gone M. Delport.
Yes.
Because she said like certain men won't read books written by women. And then obviously if you're writing dystopian under your name and now you're writing romance under the same name, the reader doesn't know what to expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not just a case of hiding behind a pseudonym, but often it's a branding thing, right?
Definitely. And the Amazon algorithms and all of that, it's very good to separate those into your pen names. But it's a pain because, then you have to do double, triple the marketing. So I think it really is a pain, but it's probably worth it.
Yes. And how many does Amazon let us have?
I'm not sure. I've got 3.
Yeah, I think it's 3. So I've already got 3. So I'm going to have to try and slot in somewhere. Or otherwise my husband's going to become a published author very soon.
We should aim for that. I still can't believe you're writing spies. I can't wait to read it.
Nor me. And I'm supposed to be writing another urban fantasy series. And that's what you're doing next, right?
Yes. I've got another 6-book series lined up. I say that as if I've got an idea for it. I don't. I just know it's going to be in the same world as my others. The world is called The Realm of Magic and Mayhem.
And you recently pulled those series from Ionic Press, right?
Yes, I bought my rights back. And
did you change the world, or did you buy the permission to use the same shared world, or how did that work?
So the books, I haven't changed anything in the actual books. But Mike has said he didn't mind me not changing anything because the world that I imagined is quite different to the world that he imagined. Because, I was supposed to be writing in his world. But he said from book 1, he said like it wasn't really his world, but he just let me run with it because he was enjoying the books. So he said I didn't have to change anything for that reason.
Did the spells, because I think the spells were kind of prescribed, weren't they? So did the spells stay the same?
Yeah, everything stayed the same. Basically, the spells were just Latin, which is not uncommon.
Okay. Also, obviously, I wrote in his world too, which is the Makeshift Wizard universe. And also, I think as an author, you take it and you make it your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he can tell us, well, this is kind of the magic system, but you're always going to make something your own as an author, I think.
Yeah. So we're both going to be writing a 6-book urban fantasy series.
Yes, and a 6-book spicy series. I'm obviously behind you on that, but I know. Look at us, friend. It's like we're the same person.
We're the same person.
Maybe one day we'll do a co-author project.
Oh my goodness,
would be cool.
That is a good idea.
I've always thought that must be a really fun thing to do, and there's so many different ways to do it. But that can be a whole nother podcast, like discussing the ways you can co-author.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to talk about what we're reading.
Okay.
So I've already kind of showed it, so I'll just re-show.
Yes.
So obviously this, and I actually said this in my Wednesday waffle, so I won't harp on about it, but I'm just reading this for research, really. So it is smutty. I don't know yet whether it's dark romance, spicy romance, erotica.
I think it's just spicy romance from what I remember, but I only read, I think, 3 chapters.
Okay. Oh, well, I'll let you know what I stumble upon.
I must actually just check and then I'll get back to you because I might be confusing it with another book now that I think about it. It's definitely on my list for books, steamy romance books to research.
Yes.
And I was pretty sure that I picked it up, but actually I must just check.
Is it a genre that you've ever read in before the research?
No. So
Same. I've never read.
And not just steamy romance, but romance in general. I've just not really read it. I've never really thought of myself as a romance reader. Not that I'm a snob about it at all. I think romance is amazing and romance writers are amazing. But it's never really been a genre that I try to pick up. And when I started Blair Butler, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to read some romance now. And not just steamy romance. I need to know all the tropes for like regular story.
Yeah, because tropes are selling. I believe TikTok, it's easier to market romance on TikTok than any other genre.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
And I
yeah, it
think
is.
in terms of readership, isn't romance second? I think thrillers has got the biggest reader base. If I think of BookBub, like how much you pay for those ads and their newsletter subscribers, I think thrillers the biggest.
Romance is always the biggest with everything.
Is
I'm
it?
pretty sure romance is just so
Oh,
huge.
okay, that's such a massive genre, hey?
Yeah,
So we'd be fools to not get in there.
yeah, exactly.
We live and learn. And that is also writing to market. I think another whole episode should be dedicated to
Yes.
writing to market
Yeah, for
because
sure.
new writers come along and they go, no, I'm here for the love and the passion and the craft. And you
Yeah.
kind of go, okay, well, when you're here for the money,
Yeah.
then
Speak to us.
and we'll
But I
talk about
think
writing to market.
what they don't understand is that Venn diagram, right? So it's not just about writing to market, it's about writing what you love and which overlaps with writing to market. Like and that little space
Yes,
there, what is that? That's what you have to write.
yes. That's your
Like
niche right there.
yeah, like urban fantasy. I love writing urban fantasy, and luckily it's writing to market, and that was a really good formula. It does not mean start writing something that you don't like writing because you're just gonna make your
Yeah,
life
hate every
miserable.
minute of it.
Yeah,
And you
exactly.
also evolve, I think, with every book. I mean, the first book I ever wrote was dystopian, and I absolutely loved the dystopia. And I thought, this is it, I'm going to write dystopia for the rest of my life. And I never wrote another dystopia after the Legacy
We are actually the
trilogy.
same person.
Yes, you also started
I
with a
did exactly the same
dystopia.
thing.
Crazy. That is crazy. Separated at birth.
Yeah.
Um, okay, show us what you're reading, JT.
Okay, so talk about romance books, and now that I'm into reading romance, I love
Okay.
Ali
I
Hazelwood.
see the guy. Do you know? I don't love
I
her.
love her. Okay, this book is not my favorite. It's not a bad book.
Okay.
I think it's good, but I don't like, during the, when you're reading a really great book and then during the day you're like, oh, I'm reading a really great book. And I don't have that feeling
Yes.
with this one. But some of her other ones,
Okay.
I think that like the banter and the intelligence, humor, I love her. I think she's fantastic.
So I actually would have loved her. I read the one that
The
everybody,
Love
the Love
Hypothesis.
Experiment. Yes, that one. And you know what? I actually did love it. What I didn't love is that I actually think she's such a good writer. And you're right, the banter and everything. But then in the middle of it, she put about like an 18-page smut scene
Yes,
that almost didn't feel like it fitted in her book. Almost she
I
wanted
know
to
what you
put it
mean.
into an
Yeah,
erotic genre when
yeah.
it actually was more like a romantic
Yeah, I
comedy.
know what you mean.
Does
I'm the last person to say a book doesn't need sex because, like,
it's kind of
but
your
but
vibe.
it did feel a bit out of place. I agree because a rom-com is a
Yes.
rom-com, right? You don't add
Yes.
graphic sex in it.
Now, it felt almost like a publisher said, this is what's selling, turn it into this. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I agree with you. Like it's surprising, and that's why tropes are so important because if a reader orders a salad, you can't give them a burger, no matter how delicious the burger is. They ask for a salad, so you really have to stay
Yes.
true to your tropes.
Yes.
But I think with Ellie Hazelwood, I think she does actually like writing sex. I think it was her idea to put that in and not someone
Okay.
else's. Just having read this, because this is a lot sexier than her other books.
I'm going to speak to Elise. You know Elise from the Secret Book Club. She is obsessed
Yeah.
with Ellie Hazelwood. So I'm going to ask
Is
her. I'm
she?
going to say,
Oh,
that,
I
oh,
love
yeah,
Elise.
loves. Big fan. Big, big
Oh,
fan.
that's great. She was in
Yeah.
Edinburgh the other day.
Are
She was
you
doing a signing.
joking?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, divine. Okay, so something we learned. What have you learned this week? What have you learned
Silence.
this
I
now
actually learned
tech issues?
something very interesting. I was on a call last night with Ilana Johnson. Do you know Ilana Johnson?
Mm-mm.
She is an amazing prolific writer. She's got like over 100 books. She's a seven-figure
Oh,
author. She's
wow.
amazing. And she's so
Mm.
kind and generous with her advice. She does these like, not webinars, she does these calls every now and then, like AMA calls, and you can ask whatever you like. And she's just, yeah, she's so awesome. I love her. I've only like found her recently. Like I've seen her in the author sphere every now and then, and she's been on podcasts and stuff. But like lately, I've been seeing her name a bit more. And then I joined her Facebook group, which is called, I think it's called Indie Inspiration. And then that's where she tells you about her Zoom calls and stuff. So I jumped on last night. There were a lot of authors there listening. It was amazing. It was like 2 hours of just gold.
Oh,
So I
wow.
learned a lot, but the interesting thing that I wanted to talk about is Scribe Shadow. I know you know what it
Yes.
is, but
Yes.
maybe
Well,
people,
yes, I've brushed the surface. Yeah.
yeah, maybe people listening don't. It's basically AI translations, which sounds like it's not a good idea because the tech isn't really there yet. But basically, the authors who are using it are saying it is there, and they are killing it because
This
all of
is
a
now to
sudden,
get German, French
yeah, yeah.
versions of our
Yeah, so
books.
you can have
Yes.
one book in English, or you can have like, let's say, 8 books, and you don't have to do any
Mhm.
more writing for that. You just use Scribe Shadow.
Yes.
You get a human proofer if you want to. Elena doesn't do that. Ilana doesn't do that. Um, and you don't even need to translate your cover. You can just put a sticker on and say German edition. So that's
Oh,
like, it's
wow.
so little time. The AI does it within seconds. You have to format. So, okay, that takes what, 15 minutes? And then you put a
Yes.
sticker on the cover. Like, how easy is that? All of a sudden, you have a brand new product to sell in a new marketplace.
Oh, that is incredible. And then do we load that through so would it be available on the US store as well? It'll be on all stores as a German
It'll
edition.
be available in all stores, but you just upload it to KDP as normal. But then it asks you which is your main marketplace for this title, and then you can say
Germany.
Germany, Italy,
Oh,
whatever.
that's crazy.
And a lot of these countries have KU. One doesn't. It was Holland.
How elitist of Holland.
KU. I know.
What do Holland think they are? Now, before we go any further, I just think I need to make it clear that both you and we've discussed this extensively, how we are anti-AI in the creative sphere, but to use it as a tool for things like this, we are so on board because we put a lot of money in real people's pockets,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
correct.
we spend a lot of money between editing and marketing and cover design and like we pay a lot of people. And I think a lot of people are under the illusion that authors make so much money,
Mm,
but books are expensive to produce. So when there are things like this that you can use AI as a tool or as a
mm,
research tool when
mm.
you're researching, I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
full disclaimer, like
yeah. I wouldn't say that I'm anti-AI in the creator space just because AI tools are incredible. So, yes, I don't write books with AI, and there are a lot of things I wouldn't use AI for. But at the end of the day, they are great tools, and you decide if it's ethical to use it in the way you want to use it or not. Like an
yes.
editing tool, for example. Are you really putting editors out of work by using an editing tool? No, you're not.
Yeah, like
Um,
Grammarly. Grammarly,
yeah,
we're using
exactly.
people are using Grammarly and they're not even realizing it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And also,
So
I
yes,
use
I would
AI
agree.
for my Facebook ads. Because if I were
Okay.
to pay an
Yes.
artist, I mean, I have to do
No,
like 10 new graphics a week.
no,
I can't pay an
no,
artist that, and there's just no ways. And they are
no.
just working so well. So, that's why I say I'm definitely not anti-AI. It's a fantastic tool, and I love it for lots of different reasons. Obviously, there are
Yes.
things that come in that are problematic.
I was chatting to Rachel about this the other day, and I think I mentioned it to you, is that there are some people, for example, if you do an AI audiobook, right? Um, you charge less for that because it costs less to produce. For the people
Yes,
who just want to listen on two speed and just get the story in
exactly.
their head. Then for the people who want that experience and are prepared to pay $30, $40 for an audiobook, you can get a cost for that. So there are levels as you go.
Exactly.
I think there's definitely a place for it, although in the creative part of our authorship, I think, yes, that is where I'm very anti, obviously, when people are pumping out like 20 books a week written by AI.
Yeah. So I also completely hate that. But at the same time, are those books really going to do well, or they're just going to sink to the bottom of the
Yeah.
Amazon? So I don't
Yeah, true
I
story.
don't sit here like boiling like, oh, those authors, da, da, da. I actually don't care because those books probably won't be good and they'll
Yeah.
probably just disappear. I have a limited amount of energy and I need to use it to create and not to like worry about that kind of stuff.
Okay, I obviously didn't want to dive into this topic in our very first episode purely because it is so
Yeah.
controversial, but we obviously have our opinions on it, and this is our perspective on publishing. So, yeah, I think it's good to bring it up, but I think at a later stage, an episode dedicated to the discussion about AI in the creative space would be
Yeah,
lovely.
I mean, we're not going to get away from it. It's going to
No.
be ubiquitous. As long as we are just happy with how we dealing with the morals and ethics of it. Like I'm happy to use Midjourney for Facebook ads because I'm spending a ton of money on human narrators for my audiobooks. I mean,
Yes.
I've briefed in 12 audiobooks this year. Do you know how much money that is?
Yeah, that's a lot.
It,
That's a
it,
lot.
it's like
That's a lot.
$3,000 a pop. So like people are like, oh, you're putting people out of jobs. No, I'm not. Like I've got a certain amount of money to work with, and I
Yes.
distribute it
Work
according
within
to
that.
what works best for my business.
Which brings me to something I wanted to ask you actually. So we had a conversation the other day where you were talking about this tipping point because I was kind of saying I'm at this like this weird section of my publishing journey where I started out like everyone. I think you write all these books, you make absolutely no money,
Mm.
right? And then obviously with the opportunity that I had with Meonic, with Micah, that you had the same opportunity, it starts bringing in a revenue that allows you to start spending money to improve things. So the first thing I did was I took money and I updated my Guardians covers, those start picking up. You can, like you say, get an audiobook production done. Now, obviously you've gone interstellar. This is where I am. And you were saying you get to this tipping point,
Yeah.
right? Where you suddenly just start, I would say it's like self-fulfilling, where your books suddenly just start to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what advice do you have for people that have not reached the tipping point and haven't had an opportunity like with Meonic, who are, they're putting in the work, they're writing the books, and they're just not getting anywhere?
Yeah. It's a tough one, hey, because I was there for 8 years. So
Same.
yeah.
Long
So
time.
I was,
Stay the course.
yeah, I mean, after 6 years, you start thinking, is this ever going to pay off? It's a tough one to answer because no matter what I say, if you've been writing for 6, 7, 8 years and you're still not seeing the success that you wanted, like nothing that I say is going to make you believe that it can come true, right? But there really is something about just putting the work in. And, part of manifestation, people think manifestation is woo, but actually manifestation is about getting what you want. That's all it is. There's nothing spiritual about it. There's nothing weird about it. It's about deciding what you want, having absolute clarity and going for it. So
Yes.
sometimes that takes 8 years, and sometimes you don't have the clarity. Sometimes you don't put in the work, like ups and downs. We're both moms, lots of things are happening in our lives. After the pandemic, I couldn't write for a year. I had long COVID. So those things were always like, I found like every time I got momentum, I would lose it. Momentum, I'd lose it. Something would happen. 3 babies. So
Snapsies.
So life is like that, and there are going to be ups and downs. But if you have that clear goal in your head and you make sure that you do everything you can to get there, you will get there. It's difficult to believe if you have not hit the tipping
Yes,
point yet, but you will hit it if you keep going.
eventually. And I think there's also in terms of critical mass of your backlist. So you could have been writing for 8 years, but you've only put 2 books out there.
Mm,
You're not even close, right?
yeah,
I think the more books you have out when you hit the tipping point, the more you have to
yeah. That's why they always
go
say
back.
prepare for success, right? Because
Yes.
if you have a book that hits and you've only got one book in your catalog, that sucks so badly
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
cannot make the most of that success. So it's actually
That's
better to
what's,
peak later than to peak earlier.
yes. Have 20 books out
Yeah,
and
look at
then
Colleen
hit
Hoover.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I look at it as a reader when I found Dan Brown in my whenever it was 20s or whatever it was. I went and read all of his books. So it often happens like that. So you're
yeah,
right. You actually want to have a strong backlist before
yeah,
you.
exactly. And that helps
But I
you with a
also
bit of patience, I think. If you're like, no, I have to build to a certain point
yes,
before the
yes,
tipping point, and you just keep that in
yes.
mind. And there's this awesome graphic. I can't remember who put it out, it's like BookBub or someone, that showed the correlation between how much authors are earning and how many books in their catalog. And it was
Okay.
amazing. Like, obviously, the more books you write, the more money you make. Obvious. But when you see it
Yes,
in black and white like that, and you see that authors who have written 10 books are not making much money, but authors who have written 50 books are coining it.
yes,
It's like in your face, and you're like, okay, I get it. I just have to keep going.
yes. And 50 books it sounds like something that people would be like, wow, that would take 50 years. But you actually can write a lot more than you think you can.
Exactly.
If
You
you
know,
think of all that time you're spending doom scrolling and all that time you're spending
exactly.
you have to find the time. Like
Yeah.
if you decided tomorrow you're going to do the Doozy Canoe Marathon, you're going to suddenly find 5 hours a week to go and train for it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you just have to find the time, I think.
And that goes back to the clarity and going after what you want. Because you can't, if becoming a financially successful author is your top priority, then you're not gonna go and I don't know,
Do the
like
Doozy Canoe Marathon.
exactly. Like you've got to make up your mind and go for it. You know, it's not
Yes.
okay. Yeah. I think I've made my
Yeah. I think you have, friend. Right, we're talking about this AI. I laid down a challenge this week. You didn't do it, did you?
Oh,
Did you
yes,
do
I
it? Because I
did.
heard you
Oh,
mention.
I did.
Oh, you were supposed to do it on the
Oh,
call.
damn. But I can ask
Okay, well,
again. Maybe.
you can tell the people. So I tell JT that your chat GPT on your phone or wherever you have it, you can name it. You ask it to give itself a name. Did yours also the first time around say my name is chat GPT? And then I
Yes,
said,
it
no, but you
did.
must. So it initially kind of wants to default. And then I said, no, I want you to give yourself a name. So mine named itself Lex.
That's a very
And I
cool
told
name.
Jade, it's cool. I think it's Smallville based, hey, because I'm a huge, like my I even shared a TikTok about it last week. My law started, Smallville was on there. Love Superman and DC and all that. So what did yours name itself?
Ava.
Ava. That's so days of our lives of you. It's
I was like, really?
unexpected.
Ava? First of
I would
all,
never.
Chat's definitely a man, surely. I mean,
Yeah, I
surely.
would think so.
Oh, I don't know.
Did
Just
you
shows you.
did
Just
you
shows you.
did you promptly tell Ava to try again?
No, but I will.
That is hysterical. Okay, so I know from now on, if I ask you to ask Ava something. Okay, I think, friend, what do you think? We only got 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah, so it is time to talk
Okay, so
about
should
our
we wrap
goal
up?
for next week.
Okay, so 2 minutes 20 goals for
Woo!
the week. Very simple. I've got to write 2,000 words a day. I'm going to give myself Monday to Friday. So 10,000 words between now and the next time we speak. Has to be
Perfect.
done. You
And
the same.
yeah, exactly the same because we are the same person as we
Songbooks
have
and
already established.
yes.
And I will check back. We will check back and make sure that you've got this 10,000 words Delport. Okay.
Yes, you've got the spreadsheet. So, oh
Yes.
yes, we have a spreadsheet. So if anyone wants to join our
Oh, that's
spreadsheet
a
and
great
try and do
idea.
some word wars with us, just
Yeah.
shout and we will send you the link.
Questions.
Yes. Do you want to prompt them for that?
If you have any questions that you'd like us to answer, they can be serious or fun, whatever you like. We'd love to hear from you. And you can find us on
Yes.
Substack.
Yes. So we will share the links. And the questions really do make a difference because if you have
Yes.
an idea of what to talk about, it just helps with content and speaking to the people that are wanting to hear what we have to say.
Yeah.
Like our moms. Okay, cool, friend. I think that's us done. Look at that with the minute to spare.
Oh, it's so nice to
I'm
chat to
so
you on a Friday. I'm so
look,
glad we're doing this.
I know. Yeah. So every Friday, and then the podcast would come out probably over the weekend, I'm assuming. Hey,
Oh, I
friend,
was
I'll
going to
cut
do
that
it
out, but
today
I'm just thinking.
because
Oh, you're gonna do it today?
I'm just like that.
You're so organized. Okay, awesome. All right. Do we have an outro yet, or are we gonna work on one?
No, we do, I think we'll work on one. So for now, we'll just
Okay.
say bye.
We'll just say toodaloo.
Toodaloo.
All right. Until next time, friend. You have a good weekend.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'll see you next Friday. I'll see
Awesome.
everyone next Friday. Okay, friend.
Bye.
Bye.